President Trump's relentless focus on the most dire public health and economic crises in modern U.S. history must be excruciatingly stressful to him, which is surely why he took a short break Monday night to unleash an insane rant about a digital ad. That rant comes as new reporting indicates that Trump is rebooting his re-election strategy to move past the coronavirus and onto his plans to rebuild our economy in spectacular fashion. But if you unpack the argument in Trump's rant, yes, there really is an argument there. It actually reveals profound weaknesses in his new re-election message, in a way that makes a real statement about the past decade of U.S. politics. Trump's Twitter explosion was directed at a brutal new ad created by the Never Trump Republicans at the Lincoln Project. Trump hurled childish insults at the group, which includes George Conway, husband of Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway. Trump raged that he is a winner, while they are losers who represent the GOP that Barack Obama beat in 2008 and 2012. In the 2016 primaries, Trump seethed, "They got badly beaten by me, a political first-timer." In contrast to those losers, Trump fumed. He delivered for the GOP 2 Supreme Court justices and the biggest ever tax and regulation cuts. But this very boast on taxes and regulations shows why Trump's re-election case is so weak. It's a reminder that as president, he fully embraced GOP plutocracy and sold out on the sham economic populism that, by his own mythology, enabled him to outdo all those Republicans. He is revealing the corrupt bargain he has since made with conservative economic elites. The original idea was that Trump would win re-election in spite of that enormous betrayal. He would coast on the good economy he largely inherited, and falsely give his policies credit for it, thus obscuring their true plutocratic nature, paving the way for more plutocracy to come. But the coronavirus has reduced those designs to smoldering ruins. Trump is raging about Morning in America, a play on Ronald Reagan's upbeat 1984 re-election ad depicting America rising out of the ashes of the 1970s. A more apt comparison is to Trump's 2016 ads. The Lincoln Project spot repurposes imagery, rusted-out factories, stagnating small towns, that Trump used to portray American carnage in the industrial Midwestern and Appalachian heartlands. But the new spot uses this imagery against Trump. It depicts the extraordinary economic calamity we're sliding into, in part because the coronavirus rampaged out of control, requiring much more stringent economic lockdowns, due to his catastrophic failures. As Bloomberg reports, this is forcing an overhaul of a re-election strategy premised on the good economy. The new line? Trump will rebuild the economy again, after having supposedly done so before. The new campaign message is that he can rebuild the economy better than presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden, who the Trump camp argues co-piloted a sluggish rebound from the 2008 financial crisis, according to 2 officials familiar with the strategy. But this is a terrible argument. First, whatever legitimate criticisms there are of the Obama-Biden economic rescue, by just about every available metric Trump inherited the good pre-coronavirus economic trends from the last presidency. One irony here is Trump hoped to run his own Morning in America campaign. He has constantly claimed he took over a smoldering economic hellscape and magically transformed it into a spectacular economic juggernaut. But it will now be harder to pull off this lie. He will likely be held accountable for what he's presiding over, as presidents often are. Voters may unfavorably compare the catastrophic status quo with the end of the Obama years. Meanwhile, Trump has entirely squandered whatever economic populist cred he once enjoyed, making this reboot harder to pull off. Trump's 2016 argument was that he was not a Paul Ryan-style Republican. Trump would safeguard social insurance for the elderly, secure massive infrastructure spending and take on economic elites. He would use government power to protect people, or at least his voters, who were vulnerable to market forces, in a way other Republicans would not. But he tossed all that aside. Trump's massive corporate tax cuts were a boon to the rich and did little for workers. He badly undermined worker protections and tried to roll back the Affordable Care Act's protections for millions. Trump and Republicans are still trying to destroy those protections amid a pandemic. Indeed, Trump's answer to the current catastrophe looks something like what Jedediah Britton Purdy terms disaster nationalism. It's a fusion of neo-social Darwinist relaxation of social distancing, putting ordinary Americans and workers at terrible risk. See the ongoing carnage in meatpacking plants, with more tax cuts, shredded regulations and ethno-nationalist scapegoating of immigrants. By contrast, former Vice President Joe Biden is campaigning for a large expansion of health care protections, plus various worker-focused proposals such as beefed-up labor market regulations and a $15 per hour minimum wage. He's vowing much more hands-on federal management of our reopening. This isn't the end of the story. As some writers, see Ryan Cooper and Jamel Bowie, have noted, the unprecedented scale and nature of the crisis invite a debate over a far more robust social democratic transformation than either party represents. We'll see whether Biden can craft a big enough agenda and argument. But one thing that's clear is that Trump is in an awful position to wage this battle. He has thrown away the very qualities that, by his own lights, enabled him to outdo those other Republicans. And the very things he boasted of in his rant, tax cuts and deregulation, confirm this perfectly.